And welcome back to episode 176 even of the Weekly Tech Round with me, Jay.
Yeah, me, Karl.
Can't count there, Karl.
Well, you can't count. I'm having a coughing fit. So quickly unmute myself.
It is 176 and we are in August. I can't believe it. The 8th month of 2024. Where is the time going? This seems to fly by,
before you know it.
It will be. I mean, technically speaking, some businesses are in their fiscal year of FY25.
Oh, yeah, they are indeed.
Another way of confusing the hell out of me. But yeah, we are back for this week's lineup. And as I said, we've got a bit of a mixed lineup this week. You know, it's summertime. Story's a little bit quiet. We're kind of having to pull some interesting ones up, aren't we, to have a talk about this week?
We are, yes.
But we do have iPhone 16 rumors. So we brought it back. We're back on track. We're relevant. It's iPhone 16 this week, not the 17. But yeah, I think so. Next week, before we were coming on air, we were talking about what we're going to talk about next week. And I think next week we should have a bit of a games and TV catch up. What do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely. So we had a number of new ones we started playing, I should say. So why not?
Yeah, there's a couple of series that have wrapped up, haven't they? We'll try not to do spoilers, but a couple of things have wrapped up. I think it'd be good to kind of have that summertime. Oh, yes, the boys. But, you know, it may have ended for Series 4, but I think we've definitely got Series 5. And obviously there's a spin-off due on that.
Indeed.
But anyway. Right, so this week then, we got a few things to talk about. We're going to talk Intel, Apple. We're going to talk a major issue regarding Secure Boot, which affects pretty much all PC vendors. We've got OpenAI this week. Google apologizing, apparently. Unusual. Yeah. And as I say, the Tech Rumor Mill is back with some iPhone 16 rumors. Well, let's kick things off then with this recent story about problems with Intel 13 and 14th gen CPUs, which is causing kind of system failures and crashing, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is another masterclass in how not to do customer service, but this time from Intel. Owners of 13th, 14th gen CPUs have been complaining, for the last year or so, been kind of complaining about CPUs crashing. But Intel had kind of been ignoring them really, and pretty much blaming everyone but Intel. I remember them saying that it was the motherboard manufacturers that were setting too high power level usage and auto overclock, that kind of stuff. Intel then put out a bunch of these are the recommended BIOS settings you should be using, and they made all the manufacturers of motherboards put those in the BIOS as the default. Turns out that didn't really work, and Intel have now kind of put their hands up and said, yeah, it might have been us. We're going to release a microcode update to address the root cause, which is exposure to elevated voltages. Apparently this is affecting basically all 13th, 14th desktop processors that is 65 watt or higher. So that's your Ks, your KSs, your KFs, non-K variants, but anything uses more than 65 watt, which is pretty much most of them.
Yeah, that's quite a wide spectrum there, isn't it, really?
Yeah. As I said, it turns out the chips themselves seem to have these issues. But this is where it gets pretty crappy from an Intel point of view. Basically, you'd expect Intel probably to do a product recall at this point. We've got a fault in our chips.
You thought so, yeah.
Product recall of all affected ones, or at the very least, extend warranties. You know, put another year or two on just to cover you, because this isn't something that happens straight away. It's something that the CPU degrades over time. But no, Intel has no plans to recall the affected chips. It's not made any comment on its ended warranties, and it's not even halted sales of affected CPUs until they can put a fix in place. They're just business as usual.
Well, this is worrying, because obviously I have one of these chips. Now, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think I've had any crashes that have been related to the CPU.
No, I mean, Intel have put a link to some guy on YouTube that shows you basically how you can reliably get it to crash if you're one of your affected CPUs. So that's we'll put that in the links. But basically, Intel have kind of claimed that this microcode patch they're putting out, basically, it's an effective preventative solution for processors already in service, but may only provide some instability improvements to currently impacted processors.
But, I mean, and when I was doing the research, having a look at this myself, you know, they basically were saying, weren't they, that you, like you say, stick everything to default, ensure your BIOS is up to date. You know, because this is, you know, the kind of stuff is to say this isn't us, it's them.
But it also affects their overclocking ones, the ones they advertise and market
the
as as overclockable. But no, you can't overclock if you don't want your processor to explode.
No, I mean, this is clearly a system, a failure with not a system failure, but a failure with Intel's custom services system, and also there is a systemic problem with those chips themselves that isn't
We'd
just
always said at the beginning when we talked about the announcement for these new ones and the power usage of these things.
Well, they just keep
We
getting
always said
hotter
like
and
that
hotter.
can't be great. Can it pulling over 400 watts? Some of these were doing at full clock. And you're like, that's a ridiculous amount of power to be put through such a small thing.
I'll be honest with you, I was umming and ahhing, wasn't I, about where to go.
You were, yeah. I know we had that whole chat about Intel versus AMD and stuff like that, didn't we?
And the chips came out and they were really good price.
They were.
And it's a good chip. Like, I'm not going to knock it. It does what it needs to do for me. It does make me think, though, in kind of hindsight, because we all love about hindsight.
Of course.
That maybe I should have gone with AMD because you're right. They just, excuse me, they just seem to get hotter and hotter and hotter, and the TDP gets increasing. It just, but nothing seems to improve. Whereas AMD seem to be very steady on what the wattage they're pulling out.
Yep.
They don't seem to be getting massively increased there.
You're getting a lot more efficient.
Yeah, and they're getting performance. Now, don't get me wrong, we all know that the Intel cores may be a little bit more efficient than some of the AMDs in places. But the AMD chips are par for par in many cases as good, if not better now, aren't they?
Better. I mean, if you look at those 3D cache ones, the V-cache ones, they are probably the best processors you can get for gaming. But I mean, in other news for that, actually talking about AMD, they actually delayed the launch of their 9000 series. Not because they found an issue with the processor. There's a typo on the heat spreader. But they've delayed it all by 2 or 3 weeks so that they can recall those and get ones with the correct one on. I think it said something like it mislabeled the 7th generation as a 9 or a 9 as a 7. They have the 5, 7, and 9 Ryzen series, don't they? They mislabeled it or something like that. They got the numbers mixed around on the heat spreaders. Complete recall and delayed until they get that fixed. Whereas Intel got actual faulty processors and no.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious to see whether or not how this is going to work. I mean,
I suspect they're not doing it though, because how much is that going to cost them?
Well, they're not going to recover it. They'll just basically say that this has a known defect which can be mitigated with this patch or this.
But only if it hasn't happened yet.
Granted, but that's
if you've already got a problem, it doesn't help you.
No, but I think they'll end up doing that in a way that is is done in a way that is done to say, well, actually, we this particular fault here may or may not impact you, but this is what you need to be able to do, and because we've told you about it and we've provided this, it's up to you now.
Yeah,
I don't know how that washes with
you wouldn't get away with that in a car, would you?
No, but I don't know how that's going to wash with US regulators. Europe may be different, but again, it's a real tricky one. And for me, I mean, like I say, being in this boat, I'm like, am I sitting on a time bomb here with this chip? Is it just going to give up and go?
Could be at some point. I mean, it could already start to happen. You just haven't seen the effects of it yet. You just don't know. So, I mean, I would get your BIOSes up to date. Make sure you've got the latest microcode on when Intel actually release it, just as a preventive measure. But how many consumers are going to do that? Yes, me, you, the gaming crowd, the people that switched onto IT, great. All those people that aren't, who've just bought PCs, won't know anything, and they won't touch a BIOS update at all, let alone drivers.
No, I mean, let's be honest. Majority of people have no idea. I mean, and for those that buy a computer off the shelf, which I forget that still happens, but yeah, you're right. They're not going to do it, are they?
No, exactly. So then they won't know what's going on. I don't know. It's not a great experience for the consumer here.
No, it's not. For me, I'll definitely have to go down that road and have a look at whether or not my CPU is affected and where do we go from here? Because it's quite worrying. Because I don't necessarily want to have to go out and buy a new motherboard and a new chip. Well, effectively a new chip. I suppose.
You will if you want to upgrade your chip in the future, you can have to have a new motherboard because Intel are going to release yet another socket, aren't they? So
of course they are.
It's not like AMD who like 10 years or whatever. They're like, no, Intel will release yet another one.
No, and I mean, you're going on a tangent there. You're right. I mean, the other reason I stuck with this particular board was because I wanted to keep my DDR4 investment. But obviously for next run, it's going to be DDR5. But yeah, it's frustrating. It really is frustrating, and I think you're right. This is a failure in PR for Intel here. They could have handled this very differently.
definitely. So I've got that same problem. I'm on the original Ryzen 9, the 3000 series. So
Yeah.
AM4 chipset, not the new AM5. But AMD have just. I'm waiting to see what the pricing. But they announced, along with the new 9000 series, they're going to release some new 5000 series, which will work on my motherboard. So depending on the price, I could pop that in just as a CPU upgrade before having to next time replace the whole motherboard and RAM.
That would be pretty good then, really.
So if I can get a new one for like, I don't know, 250, I think I'll probably slap that in and worry about a motherboard update a couple of years down the road.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, we'll see.
And again, another tick in the box for why you should go AMD.
Definitely, I wasn't expecting that one. I was contemplating upgrading to the 5000, not the new ones before they were announced, just to the top of the range 5000, and sort of jump up. But yeah, I'll wait and see what these pricing is.
God, it's never ending, is it? With just issues, things don't work,
I know.
or like crazy stuff. You make an investment, and Intel. I wouldn't say Intel have lost their way. That's I think that's not a good statement. But I think the Intel as the bastion of all great things from a CPU.
Don't know. Well, did you see the news this morning? Literally, minutes before we came on the air, I saw an announcement that Intel canning 15,000 people.
No, I didn't see that. No.
I only caught it just as I was my RSS feed refreshed, and I saw it at the top there. I was like, oh man, I don't know what divisions or where it's from. We'll have to maybe report on that next week.
Yeah, no, I've just done a quick search for it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, see there, 15,000 jobs as it tries to cut billions of dollars in costs and turn the business around. Wow.
A great time to be at Intel.
Well, no, but they're under. I mean, we'll talk probably. Say we can talk about it a bit more next week. But they're under, I think, intense scrutiny from pressure, I should say, rather than scrutiny. They're under intense pressure from AMD. They're under intense pressure from ARM, I think, as well. In terms of
Qualcomm launching their ARM chips for desktops.
Yeah. As a and their fab business, TSMC is way ahead of them in terms of
TSMC
fabrication.
is doing the new chips, aren't they?
Yeah, this is so I think it is a very, very difficult piece. And the days of 886, I think, being the de facto chip architecture are slowly changing, aren't they? ARM is getting a stronger foothold across the board. I'm not suggesting it's going to happen overnight, but Apple have proved that you don't need 886 to make powerful machines.
No.
So I think the ball is rolling, and Intel I think are worried now about how it's going to go. But yeah, let's pick up on more of that next week because obviously more news will have come out by then on how that's going to work and what that's going to look like. But yeah, not great news for anybody impacted by that potentially.
No. So speaking of Apple, Apple Intelligence. So we did talk about this after WWDC, didn't we?
We did.
About all the whizzy stuff, but apparently the rumours are it's not expected to be ready for initial public release of iOS 18. Shock horror. Yes. Instead, we're probably going to get it in the later one, 8.1, which is they say it'll be around October. But they've already released 8.1 beta, haven't they, Jay?
They have indeed. I've got it running on the iPad because 8.1 beta is supported on iPhone devices 15 or higher, so 15, and M-powered iPads. So I got it installed. I got it on the Pro here, the M1 powered 11-inch Pro. Got it update running. It popped up and told me it was there, and then
it told you to go away.
Yeah, then it told me that it's not available in the EU or China. Okay, that's cool. I'm not in either of those places.
We're not in the EU anymore.
No, it doesn't work.
Oh. So does it really just mean US only when it says not available in the EU?
Well, actually, you know what? I'm glad you said that because that's exactly what I've got written down here.
US only.
That is the exact words I wrote down. It's US only. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is very much US only. But it's interesting to see that they've dropped it with 18.1. And I don't know about you, but is it me or the .1 releases seem to keep coming quicker and quicker? I'm pretty confident.
It's only a couple of weeks since the 18, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Didn't iPhone 17 launch with 8.1 with 0.1 as well? I'm sure it did, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's it's quite crazy to be fair. That they're doing this. Clearly, the implication is that the .1 release carries all of the intelligence pieces, absolutely. So I think this is going to allow them to push it out maybe beyond October, probably. I think after the release, it may be that they can't get everything in ready to go. So I don't think we'll see it like we did before 17.1.
No, I mean they even said, don't expect all the AI features straight away. So one of them they mentioned was AI powered Siri might not even be in 8.1. Not truly AI powered Siri even when that comes out.
No, I think what we're seeing here, and if you've looked at any of the videos or stuff here, the 18.1 release with Apple Intelligence is a subset of the capabilities that are available, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the way it works is that if you are not in anywhere but the continental USA, you install it, and apparently you click on the new options for Apple Intelligence. There's an option that says join the waitlist, so you click on that, and apparently it can take anywhere from a few hours, but most people say that it doesn't take that long.
Oh, okay.
Once that does, you then have access. So you get a notification, and then you can do. There's a new Apple Intelligence in photos. There's live transcription of phone calls into notes. You can do summarization. Apparently, there's a writing capability like ChatGPT and Grammarly, for proofreading. All that kind of capabilities there. None of the other stuff there. So ChatGPT integration is not available, at least not that we can tell from early reports. The Genmojis, they're not there either. There are some elements around personal context and inactions for Siri isn't there yet. Again, this is them testing out, I think, the sign-up capabilities, the onboarding into Apple Intelligence. The ChatGPT functionality is not something. I think that's obviously going to come later because they're going to want to make sure this works before handing off, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
And what I think here is interesting, some of the videos that I've seen, I know there's plenty of them on YouTube and all other places. A lot of people are doing the messaging, typing stuff in a message. Typically, a lot of them appear to be rude words that they then get it to rewrite. But it's quite clever. And if you've ever used Grammarly or Notion or anything like that, it's the same kind of way. Improve this for me, rewrite this. Those kind of things. And it does what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested to have a look at the photos piece. That's the one that I was really keen to look at, the photos element.
Yeah.
The new memories. There's a new because it creates memories. If you've seen those before, but it can do with that. One thing I have seen though, and I didn't need 18.1 for this, is and it seems to be spotty, is the live transcription of voicemails. So
yes, I've not seen that yet. No one's called me. I have no friends.
I've had a couple of voicemails that pops up and says, you've here's the voicemail, and the transcription isn't spot on, but it's not far off it. And it's quite clever, but it doesn't seem to work. It's weird though. It doesn't seem to work on every message. That makes sense. It just seems to be odd ones.
So around that one, do you basically need? Does your provider need visual voicemail for that to work?
I think they must do.
Because my provider does not, which might be why I've not seen it.
I'm with EE.
I'm
in
with
the UK.
Smarty, which is a virtual operator. It's free, basically. Free's network.
So visual voicemail is turned on.
But then I don't think Free ever gave you visual voicemail either when I was with them. So,
but visual voicemail only really turned on that you had the voicemail tab. You didn't have to dial the voicemail up.
No, but you could then actually hit play on it. You could see each individual voicemail, couldn't you? Hit play, scrub through it.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, definitely.
Which basically means it's recording on the server and downloading it to your device, which would then allow Apple Intelligence to do the transcribe.
No, so I think that's it, and I think it's probably linked to that. It must be linked to it because I can't see anything to it. But you're right, 18.1 I think though is here. I think it was quite shocking for a lot of people that 18.1 arrived so quickly.
Yep.
But again, you do need to say it's not available for everybody because you need the A17 or the M chips to run it out. So for most people, they're probably not going to be wanting to. Well, they're not going to be able to run 18.1.
Yeah.
And that's it. But look, I've got it on there. It's working, nothing. And I don't know about you. My experience so far with the betas is pretty positive.
Yes, though I did have an issue with Waze on the beta, didn't I, the other day, trying to get home.
Oh yes, you did. Yeah, it wouldn't connect for you, would it?
Well, no, it would connect. So what would happen? It seemed to be fine on the way down. There were some slight bugs where if you were approaching a speed cam, Waze warns you about it, then the warning wouldn't go away. But on the way back, yeah, I set a course, and it went, okay. It started off, and after probably, I don't know, half a mile, it just seemed to stop updating. Like it had frozen, the whole app had frozen. So there was me thinking I'm getting directions. I'm like, oh, actually, I'm not getting any. But then I just couldn't not get it to reliably work at all. I switched to Apple Maps, which actually was really, really good. I was surprised at how much that had come on. And that had actually integrated better with the car because that gave me directions on the dashboard, the one in front of the steering wheel, but it also gave me directions in the heads-up display I've got, which Waze doesn't do. So that was really nice to see that one. So I think I'm going to give Apple Maps a bit more of a try.
I mean, I have to say, I was when you said to me, thinking, I have not any problems. Then I thought about it, and I did have an issue like that a little while ago. And I put it down to not being able to connect. But when you described the issue you had, I had exactly the same. I put a thing in, it got out, it said that it couldn't connect, and then it just didn't update at all.
Yeah.
And as far the map seemed to move, but as far as it was concerned, I was still at my starting point.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
this would have been fine. Like, if I was going traditional route, down the motorways, I was only 3 motorways. I could figure that one out myself. But it just decided to take me off route, back countries, then die on me, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know where I am. I mean, I ended up going past Legoland, which I wasn't expecting to see on my way home.
no, well, don't complain.
It should have pulled in, gone for a spin around on the rides. But yeah, it was just really, really bad time. But that was a kind of, I suppose, other than there were some dodgy issues with the McDonald's app when I tried to order a McDonald's.
Oh god,
those
yeah,
are
yeah.
the really important stuff. Those were the only issues I'd really seen. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, I've had a couple of apps that seem to boot cycle. You launch it, it crashes. You launch it, crashes, and then it works.
Yeah.
But touch wood, all of the core apps that I use day to day are working absolutely perfectly.
Yeah.
I've got no issues at all with them. The banking applications, email, all the core applications work as expected. Battery life is diabolical, but again, that's a known issue with iOS betas.
Yeah.
The Watch OS Beta 11,
I haven't done
battery
that.
life on
I've
that is
avoided.
the battery life on that is terrible, and I've just said that, but I mean that is really terrible.
Not even a day.
No, not even a day. Some days I'd get through, but now I'm kind of having charging it midway through the day because it won't do it.
Oh.
So I think there's stuff going on here with it, but again, I'm not upset with that. That's the price you pay for getting into it, isn't it? And I think especially all these new capabilities coming, things do change. But yeah, so iOS 18.1, then I guess recap comes with Apple Intelligence or a subset of the features. Only if you don't live in
only if the computer doesn't say no.
But there is a way around it. So there's a quick way if you want it. There's a really quick way to get it on your device. You can change your region settings to US, your language to US, and I think your time zone. I can't remember if it was time zone as well. I can't remember. But some people have been reporting. And I think maybe you didn't need to do time zone. Now I've said that, but some people are reporting that works.
Yeah.
And then you're able to get access to Apple Intelligence. The problem is, though, of course, if you change your region back to UK or France or whatever, it doesn't work.
Right, gotcha.
So I'm not going to go down that road. I can't be bothered changing
no
regions, and I will wait till it appears. I'm sure it will do. I have no doubt it will appear at some point, but given I can only use it on one device, what's the point of? I might as well just hold my fire.
Yeah, patience, young grasshopper.
Indeed. So from bouncing back then to another PC-related issue, then this is one that you're going to have to walk me through this.
Yeah.
But this seems pretty serious. This next one.
It is. So I presume most of our listeners have heard of Secure Boot. If you haven't, if you haven't, it's a bunch of on motherboard CPU firmware stuff that's designed to kind of secure the boot process and make sure it's valid and its integrity is in check before allowing the OS to boot. Especially, you've got a known good config basically to start off with. But turns out it isn't so secure for many PCs. And actually, the reason isn't what you think. It's not actually a flaw in the code. It's a flaw in the manufacturers. So it seems many PC manufacturers and motherboard manufacturers have been shipping systems with 12-year-old signing keys on them. Keys that were leaked in 2022. It gets worse. There was no excuse for this. These keys were actually test platform keys.
What?
And they even had, in the certificate issuer fields, it even says, do not trust, do not ship. So the certificates themselves say do not trust, do not ship because they're for test. They're what you're going to use in your lab, in your development process before replacing them with your own keys. Oh, yeah, and it's not some unknown motherboard manufacturer or PC maker. No, it's Dell, Acer, Fujitsu, Gigabyte, HP, Lenovo, Supermicro. Even some Intel components have been shipped with these. So basically the who's who of PCs.
Yeah, I mean, like that's all the main. If you were to name a PC manufacturer, there's your names, isn't it? Basically.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see Asus or MSI on there, but who knows at this point?
But that's crazy. Why would you ship something that says "Do not ship, do not trust"?
Because that's just crappy development, isn't it? It's like we need to release a motherboard. It's cheap. I don't want to put the effort in.
Is that again some classic? We didn't do any QA or
yeah,
validation?
We did zero QA. We didn't really care. But yeah, basically this would allow us attackers to compromise the entire security chain from the firmware to the operating system. So basically, the only way to fix this is, again, device manufacturers are going to have to ship BIOS updates, firmware updates, to replace those keys and shore it all up. But as we said before, what are the chances they actually do that? And then the consumer actually applies the update. I'm going to guess the majority of those manufacturers don't ship updates. If this has been out since 2012, they're not shipping updates for those.
No, not at all. No, that's not happening. I mean, some of them might do, but some of those boards may be beyond.
They might do for the latest boards. I mean, I don't know how modern some of these boards are. I imagine they will for motherboards that might be a year or two old, but past that, they're not going to do it.
Some of them are going to be end of life, like you say, or end of manufacture. So, but still, I mean, this is a clear issue, a clear failing across the board there. That to have this, across it's crazy, isn't it?
It smacks to me of a tick box exercise. We must have secure built on our motherboards. We'll do it in the cheapest and crappiest implementation ever. Just slap that in there.
But again, what the thing is though, a lot of these manufacturers don't make their own motherboards or the chips on them, do they? So a lot of them are issued by who is it?
American Megatrends, stuff like that. Yeah.
You see pop up. So these are based off chips that they obviously are buying from a
true, but I'm sure the motherboard manufacturers have to implement their own keys.
Oh yeah, so I'm saying, but this is clearly there's a supply chain issue here as well.
Yeah,
isn't
I imagine AMI shipped the BIOS with the test keys in it, with the idea that it meant to replace them, but clearly haven't.
Nuts, absolutely nuts.
It's just piss poor, isn't it? It's
apologies for the language there, but
I'm just it's just infuriating.
Absolutely. Why? Yeah, why would you not? Why would you not check this and say so? It's so blatantly obvious that it's got in there that this is test or do not ship. Implies that but to have it then. How many? I guess the question to ask here is how many thousands, if not more, of machines is this impacted by?
Yeah, I don't know at this point. This was kind of fairly new, but you've got to be the question like, how much does it cost to generate some signing keys? I mean, if it's not free and you have to go to someone, an official one, even if you're doing one for each motherboard line, a couple of thousand per motherboard line, it's 0.00% of the manufacturing costs. It's just crazy that they haven't done it.
It's crazy. I can't believe that. Yeah, such a just such a vast failure.
Yep. It's just enough to drive you mad. Seething. Like really.
Yeah, I'm just like, but my brain is just like trying to comprehend this. It's gone.
Terrible. Right, we need to move on. I'm just going to get wound up with that one.
Okay, so let's move across and talk about OpenAI. So OpenAI, continually innovating. Currently working on the ChatGPT version 4.omni at the moment, and they have Omni Mini as the next version down. Then you've got legacy ChatGPT. They're also still unreleased yet, but they've got Sora, which is the video editing capabilities, which keep seeing great videos from that. But there isn't any other. I don't think you can get on the release unless you're part of their testing group. But they've now come out with a new product, haven't they, called Search GPT, which is an AI-powered search engine, which kind of starts me thinking down the road of where are we going with this?
Yeah.
So this is, if you think about traditional search engines, you put in a search. I don't know. Find me a restaurant in London.
Yeah, restaurant near me or whatever, something like that. Yeah.
And basically, it goes off and it does index search, doesn't it, across that to find you an answer. This, though, however, is leveraging that capability to give you AI capabilities so you can, I'm guessing, leverage natural language. It can be selective in its responses for you.
Yeah.
It can find information. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you've been testing out that paid for search engine, haven't you? That had some AI in it, didn't it?
It does. So it depends which tier you do, but it's not AI in the actual search as such. You can do your search, which is more traditional index kind of based. But then you can click a little button next to it saying like summarize this or something like that, and it'll pull up a AI to do summarization of the website or page you're linking to. But I also use a built-in summarizer as well, so help me make the podcast. I pop in the link and it summarizes the page. I always give the page a quick read through first because, like all AI, it occasionally hallucinates. You're like, it's not what they said.
No, it doesn't hallucinate.
So if I do a quick once over first before I get to summarize the key points, generally I'm good. But no, I've been very impressed with it. But if I go up a tier, then I get access to basically all the AI engines. I get access for free to OpenAI's GPT 4.0. I get Claude, all those kind of ones as well.
So the way they OpenAI said this is going to work in partnership, isn't it, with lots of different providers.
Yeah.
So they've gone out and they've been quoted as saying on their company blog that they're working with various media news outlets.
Yes.
News Corp is one of them. They've struck multiple deals, licensing deals with other people, because there was a lot of concern, wasn't there, that the ChatGPTs were scraping data without permission.
Yes, there were. Yeah, definitely.
And it is a data. Let's be honest, it's a data hoover. There's no other way. It's just hoovering data.
So it's just more kind of a curated search then.
Yeah, granted, and it's kind of asking, unlike kind of, it's giving you results in a listed format. The outputs in the screenshots are showing that it gives you contextual information, isn't it?
It shows you summaries under each thing. It gives you links to sources and all sorts of stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah, which I guess is a research tool. This could be quite powerful. However, at the moment, it's only limited, isn't it, to about 10,000 testers. I haven't managed to get access to it. I'm kind of curious to see. I guess, Google's search piece, as you said, really failed because it hallucinated. It read dodgy sources. Don't die with coughing, and it was coming up with weird stuff. And I guess they've got to really work out how they try not to get this to provide the same level of.
That's it, isn't it? Do I want my search to hallucinate, or do I just want a static list of stuff that I can then go to a page and get to hallucinate on that? I don't know. I was in two minds about this because, generally I think search is, if you're doing it from indexing, it's just pulling back what the site actually says. It's not making up what the site says.
No, but I guess if you think about it, has search really evolved in the last 10, 15 years?
Does it need to though?
I don't know.
I mean, I can pretty much get whatever I want for standard search. I don't use Google anymore, I said, but I did pop back the other day and go, "Oh my god, what have they done to it?" They've fed loads of AI in, and it's gone horribly wrong. But
I have to say, I use Google all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's the one I put default search engine, and I use it from the address bar.
I do with my Caddy. That's just in the address bar now. I just type the address bar and boom, it uses that.
I don't see any of this AI stuff, so I wonder whether or not I've got something that's not showing up properly.
Maybe. When I last used it, pretty much the first half of the page was all AI summarizations and all sorts of stuff. And I was like, I don't want it that.
Yeah.
want a straight search.
Yeah, maybe I've got that turned off somehow. I don't know, but I don't see any of that these
Yeah.
days. But I guess this is where we're going with it. We're going with the way that it's going to find stuff. We're going with the natural language, and it will be at some point the full integration of all of these chat capabilities, the OpenAI, the assistant capability, is going to be the key way this works, isn't it? So, yeah, I don't see this being a major issue
The
unless
issue I see though are for the websites.
yeah, I was going to say
If you're doing summarization in the search, made up or not, is the app user then going to go to the actual website? They're just going to read the summary and go, "Oh, that was what I was after."
Well, that's the concern, isn't it? And what happens if the data you want isn't being, if I'm searching for something, but what happens through weird licensing? You're never going to find it because that particular website's excluded itself from search capabilities.
Yeah, or so you don't really, or AI search capabilities, but you can still find it on the traditional search. But you'll just get a link to the page, you click on, and you get the actual content. But yeah, you might not see that in Google or OpenAI search if they've not signed a licensing deal.
Yeah,
and they won't be for smaller places, will they? That's never going to happen.
No, I'm eager to give it a try. I'll be honest with you. I'm eager to give it a try and see how it goes. But yeah, I don't know whether we're ready for this to replace traditional search yet.
No.
Well, I think what all of us want is I just want integrated, seamless search that works every time.
Yeah,
it's not much to ask for, is it?
No. I just want to find my take on the internet when I go and search for it.
Yeah, definitely. So talking of Google, then they've
impeccable timing, Google.
They've gone and broke something else, haven't they?
I have. So just when thousands or tens of thousands of IT workers are trying to clear up the CrowdStrike issues, Google decided to lose all your passwords.
Brilliant.
Well, in Chrome. So if you were using the password manager, you didn't actually lose them, but you couldn't view them, use them, or search for them for around 18-20 hours due to some kind of bug. So Google was saying the bug is the root cause of the issue is a change in product behavior without proper feature guard. Not sure what that means, other than we haven't got your passcodes. But now it's fixed now, and it apparently didn't affect too many people. They say it was.
I like that. 2 million people. Is that 2 million or 2 million?
Of the 25% of the people it went to. But this is Chrome. How many users does it have? Chrome.
Millions.
Yeah, so that 2% of the 25%, we're still talking probably millions or tens of millions of people that suddenly didn't have access to their passcodes.
That's not great.
That was really bad time when people need their passcodes.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've you and I have got third-party password managers. Yeah. I don't use the one built into Chrome, but a lot of people will do, because especially if you're using corporate machines, you may use that as a standard built-in password manager because it's there, isn't it? It works if you've got a Google account.
Well, we do it in mobile, because I remember we had that conversation the other day. On mobile, you don't use Bitwarden for apps and stuff, do you? You use built-in OS. What if it was Apple that had suddenly stopped working?
Yeah, I mean, Bitwarden used for everything, but you're right. Some apps, if it's only app only and there's no website version of it, I typically just tend to save it in the keychain because it's simple.
I still use Bitwarden. It's a bit more effort, but if that was Apple on your mobile, you wouldn't get into your apps.
Yeah, so that would be pretty scary. But then that would be a major issue of keychain failure.
Definitely.
But I mean, yeah, you got to take your hat to Google. Well done.
Yeah,
well done.
Brilliant.
It's well played. That's all I say.
But they did actually say sorry. They came out and said sorry straight away, which was refreshing.
That's a first.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's probably a good place for us too. So we got technically one rumor here, but two flavors to it this week. So iPhone 16 is obviously due for a release imminently. I mean, we're talking weeks now.
I can't wait. Month and a half max.
But I don't know about you, but is it me, or do the rumors seem really quiet this year? Typically speaking, I'm talking generally in terms of the rumors about the phones.
Is it just because generally not a lot is changing? We're getting a new button, aren't we? We're getting a camera shutter capture button, aren't we? I think that's through the entire range, and they're changing the layout of the cameras, aren't they? For the entire range, so you can do spatial video, haven't you?
Yeah.
So I did that on the Pros last year. but now apparently that's the entire range. But I don't think a huge amount is changing. Maybe that's why we're not seeing so many rumours. We've basically already got it. We're just getting in new colours.
And that's pretty much it. And that's what we're going to talk about now. So
Yes.
there has been some leaks, haven't they? So
And
these
pictures.
have come and pictures. So these have come in kind of two different places. We've got information coming from Mark Gurman and also MKBHD. There was a video he posted recently, wasn't there, where he compared some colors of devices. So let's talk about the iPhone 16. So not the Pro, but the 16 then. So
yes,
the 16 appears at least that there are going to be. So this is the 16 and 16 Plus, which is, if you will, the standard phone. And it looks like rumors are based on mock-ups that it's going to be 5 colors, isn't it? So we're going to get white, black,
so far no colors,
pink, which is like a baby pink, at least from the demos, isn't it? The mock-ups. Then there's the blue, which looks similar to the iPhone 13 and the XR blue. So that kind of, I want to say it's like a bright blue, isn't it? If that means, I don't know what the official designation of it is.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we've got what appears to be, I want to call this a sea green.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of matty in color by the look, isn't it? Matte.
Yeah, I really like it.
It looks nice.
I really like it, and I think it's a nice green color. And I think but just to step back a second, we've got white, black, blue, green, pink.
And we'll have a red. There's always a red.
There's always a red. But I mean, look, just I don't know. Just be nice to have something different. What about a two-tone? What about? Am I just asking too much?
Just some...
it gets better, doesn't it? So if you want the Pro phone, which is me and you, isn't it? And people we know. So you're getting the iPhone. So this will be the 16 Pro and Pro Max then.
Yep.
So let's take a reminder. What did the 15 came out with? Titanium, didn't we? We had natural white, black, and blue titanium,
which was all basically the same color.
Yep, and Michin Kuo, he of always, good information, reckons we're going to get natural, rose, white, and black. And the pictures that have been done, these are on the show notes, that basically it's white, black, and grey, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the black looks a bit blacker this time.
It looks really black, actually. It looks like a deep black.
On the 15s, all the titanium were just hues of titanium, weren't they? They weren't real colours.
No. But this appears to be like a white sprayed back, quite a white. I want to say almost like a, I don't know. It looks matte again, I think, as you say. And then you've got the black, and then what I would describe as bare metal color, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's the natural. But there is no picture of the rose titanium. No. Now, I had heard rumours that it looks more bronze in color. Don't know. Bronze, I might go for it if it actually looked like bronze. I think I'd probably have that, but I still imagine it's going to be a lot of blah and no real actual colour.
I think at this point in the game, I'm just like, colours. You mean you're just rehashing the same ones as before, yeah?
Yeah, why don't you just give titanium a size and give maybe a ceramic back? And we go to town on all sorts of cool colours in ceramic, but you can't really colour titanium, which is the problem they've been kind of finding out, wasn't it? Well, I think we discussed it last year. Yeah, adding colour to titanium is quite hard.
And this is the problem, because you can't really colour it, can you, in the same way that you can with other metals?
No, exactly.
So, I don't know. I don't know. For me, looking at this, looking at my current phone, what have I got? I've obviously got the purple because it's a 14.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe the natural one.
Don't know. But really, at the end of the day, are you going to put it in a case or not? Does it really matter what colour it is?
Yeah, but I always have the Spidgin.
You go for the clear ones, don't you? Yeah.
I have a clear case, always. So I do see the colour. So I think for me, maybe black or maybe the natural, I think, is probably the only one I can probably go with at this stage. So
yeah, I think I'm going to have to go to the store and play with them.
Well,
it's one of the ones you need to see, especially if I was going to something like the rose, titanium, bronze kind of one. I want to see it in the flesh first.
Well, yeah, that's true. It'd be interesting to see what it really looks like, because when we see on the Apple, when we see it on the Apple event, the colours are not going to look the same as it are.
No. Our joint friend, he went and moved from Samsung to Apple, loving it. But yeah, he got the new 15 Pro. But I was having to play with it, and the colour just looks a bit blah.
Titanium, my friend. That's what
It
it is.
is, but
Titanium.
it's not visually striking.
No, no. Well, there you go. So new colours, but not really new colours. Just a rehash of the old colours. Well, that's probably a good place for us to wrap up for today. We'll be back next week for episode 177. As I said, we're going to aim to do a bit of a roundup on games and TV and film. Obviously, any breaking news will cover that as well.
Yeah.
You can find us at techrant.online. All of our show notes are posted there indeed. And of course, you can find us on all the major platforms if you want to tell your friends, and on YouTube as well at Weekly Tech Rant, where all of the shows are posted automatically. Well, with that, I've been Jay.
I've been Karl. Have a good one all.